Hey everyone, this is Lucid, and welcome to Lucid School of Lemurian Economics. What we have for you here is a graph of usefulness of different units over time for Lemuria. And this is how I have come to think about Lemuria. And I think this will help a little bit for pretender design and stuff like that. I kind of tried to express some of this, but in the early game, centurions are the shit. They expand really well. They're cheap. You just need to turn a few death gems into them. And yeah, they're good at raiding enemy territory. They're awesome at expanding, but they fall off kind of hard because they're not really super combatant tier, and they're not even, they're kind of like light thug tier. But anybody that comes out with magic weapons in mass, they kill them, and they're not really infinitely replaceable. So their utility really kind of tends to die off. Later in the game, potentially you can put shrouds on some of them, and they kind of pick back up in utility if you have a good bless, but yeah, so that's centurions. Ghosts, at the beginning, they're not super good because you can't get as many of them. You actually are going to be relying at the beginning of the game far more on centurions for expansion, because they can expand with very minimal ghost support, and you can get, 2 per turn out of your capital. Whereas ghosts, your dominion starts off pretty small, but as you go on and your dominion increases and you get more forts, your ghosts become more and more useful, and you can use them as raiding. They're extremely good versus PD, and then fighting anything that doesn't have magic weapons. In the early game, and in your first early war, they're actually pretty good because most of the time your enemy is going to want their mages in labs researching, and they're going to want to use their fort turns for making mages, not priests. And so they're not really going to want to have heavily mage-supported armies and units. And so for that period of time, your ghosts they're kind of king, right? If you're fighting, especially if you're fighting a nation without magic weapons. If you're fighting a nation with magic weapons everywhere, like even if it's a nation that has magic weapons on like cap-only sacreds, that can be a big deal. But, a lot of the things you're still going to be fighting are going to be, like PD or supporting troops too. A lot of times it's not only cap-only sacreds or something, if they have a magic weapon bless. So anyway, ghosts tend to be pretty useful in this early phase of the game. What happens around here, like early mid-game, is that you'll start seeing more mage support in armies. And as people put more mages in armies, and as the research gets better and better and better, the value of having ghosts in armies kind of decreases. You're still going to have ghosts in armies, but you have to remember, like, the portion of the value of the army that the ghosts are contributing becomes relatively less and less. But at the same time, you're getting more and more ghosts, because you're getting more forts, you're getting more dominion, and that's giving you more ghost summoning power. So, on one hand, your ghosts are becoming much less valuable over time, as you go from, like, early mid-game to late mid-game. But at the same time, your ghost production is ramping up. And then finally, towards the end, they're always going to be useful against PD as raiders. But towards the end, they also can get buffed up. And with a lot of buffs, the ghosts kind of become okay again. Not great, but okay. So anyway, that is the ghost curve. Next, we have consuls. In consuls, they are not very good early because they're too expensive. So super early in the game, it's almost always better to have centurions, because whatever you wanted your consul to do, a centurion can do it for cheaper, better, faster. But where consuls start to shine is things that centurions can't kill, consuls can. So especially if you have a dormant bless or something like that, and that starts coming online right here, they're going to become better. But also, your gem income is going to increase as you get more temples out and as you site search. And then they're not going to feel as prohibitively expensive. By some point in the mid-game, you'll probably be able to get 1 per turn if you wanted to. And yeah, so they get better and better and better and better. And then you, especially as you start unlocking a few items for them, you can start using them to counter armies. And their value really goes up and up and up and up. And they're your most valuable unit in the strict mid-game, I would say. With the correct gear, they can counter certain armies, especially once you get some of the MR negates gear. You still have to worry about some of the kind of traditional undead counters like death mages and holy scourges and things. So there's definitely things to worry about, but they're very powerful units. They're also, and this is why they don't really die down super useful or super low, is because they're always going to be useful as raiders. They're always going to be useful as kind of super combatants mixed in armies, and they're always going to be useful as apostasy spammers inside your armies. So the problem, and this is what happens here, and this is like one of the most important mid-game timings, is they're going to be getting more and more useful as like you get better gear and things like that. And then mages will be coming online and they'll be getting more spells, but don't worry, you'll have the gear to counter it. And then there's this time when Soul Slay and Mind Hunt starts coming out. And once that comes out, you have to basically completely rethink your consoles, and you are going to only very sparingly use them as super combatants and as thugs. This point right here is once Soul Slay and Mind Hunt come out. And once they come out, the value of consoles starts dropping a lot. A lot. So anyway, that is this graph. Now, what's important to look at is if you look at kind of how all these graphs lay on top of each other, if you don't get a Thug Bless, which is basically what I did in my first playthrough as Lemuria. You heard me talk about it a lot in the game, but I was saying Lemuria has a mid-game slump. And that is because your centurions are good and they get worse. Your troops get better and better, but then they start falling off. And you don't have much research online yet that's going to pick up in terms of, stuff coming from your Grand Lemurs and then other mages. So this hump between here and here is what the consoles are designed to fill in. Right? This is the gap they fill in that makes you strong in the mid-game. So if you don't have it, you can still play Lemuria like with the Caster Bless like I did. But you just have to recognize you're going to be significantly weaker in this portion of the game. This would be the Lemuria slump. Now the final curve is the Grand Lemurs. And the Grand Lemurs, they're not terribly good early, but they're not worth nothing. Their utility early is for summoning more consoles and for summoning more Grand Lemurs, because you need to be Death 3, and for site searching. And that is basically what you're going to use them for when you get them. You can research with them, but you really don't want to. Their real job is to site search early on. Once your research starts coming on, they start becoming more useful. They can start doing things. They can always do some of the things the consoles can, but they're just twice as expensive. Like they can still do apostasy spam and stuff like that. But, they have death magic, so they might choose to make skeletons instead of spam apostasy or something. So, anyway, so in some ways they are cheap, an expensive substitute for consoles. But as your research comes online, these guys are going to get more and more and more and more useful. At the beginning, you'll have like one basic target. You'll get anti-magic, you'll get rigor mortis, you'll get darkness, or invulnerability. Like whatever path you decide to go, you'll start getting like 1 or 2 or 3. But by the end, they're going to be doing all sorts of big things. They'll be doing all of these buffs, not just some of them. They can be doing Wind of Death Traps, Wailing Winds, spamming Death Cloud, spamming Drain Life, all sorts of things. They're not hard countered by Magic Duel, but if your opponent has really cheap Astral Mages, that can be an annoying thing for these guys to deal with, because they can get sniped off by that, especially if you want to put gear on them. The other thing is consoles are better thugs for the mid-game. But once you have invulnerability in Soul Vortex and Astral Shield and some of these other things, these guys are going to eclipse consoles as thugs and super combatants. And then additionally, they have stealthy in their astral. So while they are going to be vulnerable to Magic Duel, they're going to be less vulnerable to like Mind Hunt and less vulnerable to Soul Slay in combat. Because basically having any astral paths is going to make you a little bit more resistant to astral spells. So anyway, they basically come online as like teleporting tier low super combatants. And then they're stealthy, which makes them much better, and then you can't target them with Mind Hunt. And then they can buff up all your army. So if you look at, now the ghosts don't cost gems, but if you look at things that cost gems, you want to put your money into centurions until at some point consoles are a better investment, and then you put your money into consoles. Now, you're going to need some site searching to kind of get the wheel started, so you're still going to get maybe 2 or 3 lemurs kind of early. But at some point right around here, you're going to stop making maybe like right here or here, depending on, because at some point you'll decide, well, you know, consoles are good for now, but grand lemurs are going to be better later. You'll basically stop putting gems in consoles and you'll start putting them in grand lemurs. And so, anyway, that is my Lemuria economics class for you. And with that, we'll get to our turn for today. We've got a few sites we found. We found a Thunder Oak, and we found an Enchanted Tomb. And we've got a few battles. We are attacking bogoroos there. Only one guy. Here, Phlegra, who became AI, controlled this turn. So this is an AI move. They moved just their mages and their cow on top of my capital. Whoops. I'm sorry. Priests and the cow. So yeah. All my guys run, the bull stomps them. Now what's important about this is because we have improved AI casting on, he's not going to self-buff, because now that it's an AI controlled, basically all the AI mages, they just do off-script stuff. So yeah, he didn't really do much. He did heal and strength of giants, and now he's charging in. So anyway, he's actually going to be a good bit easier to kill without regeneration. I don't need 2 Dusk Daggers, I only need 1. So that's nice. But I mean, it's not going to impact the game that much, right? It might save me like a turn or something for killing him. And this is actually funny. So Bogoroos is attacking me with his Earth Snake. And I've got 1 PD. Now, technically my PD would win here, because this guy's about fatigued out now. He can't kill all the skeletons that are out here without fatiguing out. Yeah. And he can just sit here and make more skeletons faster than this guy can do anything. Unfortunately, he's not going to keep making skeletons. He's going to choose to charge in. Ah, I got you. It's like the only way to lose this, because what would happen is this guy would eventually wake up and retreat. And he's like, ah, I got the idea. We finally fatigued him out. Run in and attack. Literally the only way to lose. On the plus side, he does have an armor-piercing life drain attack. But yeah, and then he scares him away with fear too. So a little questionable, I would say, on the PDAI. Next up, we have battle between Arco. So Arco is rolling out. He's got a bunch of these heart companions, and then some of these just normal hoplite dudes. And what was he? Let's see what he was trying to do. He's got this guy who looks like Swarm Spam. He's got this guy who I don't know what he's doing. He's got this guy, Swarm Spam most likely. And then he's got some Crystal Amazons. I'm guessing they're going to be doing Thunderstrike or something. And he's got a shit ton of Mystics, so he's coming out ready to fight. There was a Gath army on top of this fort last turn. So he came out, but the Gath army was gone. And if we go look at it, we'll go look at it. I think the Gath army moved here. So I think what has happened, and I don't know where the Arco armies are, but Arco's capital is here. So what Gath has done is kind of what I've been doing to these other two players, is he has now put his main army between Arco and Arco's capital. So that's not good. So I have no idea what's in this army, but I think there's a very strong likelihood that whatever is there is about to be on top of Arco's. Oh. Sorry, guys. A little bit of the yawns. Whatever they've got here is going to be on top of Arco's capital. So actually, maybe I should move this way this turn. This gives Gath a lot of options. What Gath can do here, he could say, well, and this is where having a good scouting network would be really good for Gath. Like, if he has good vision of where all the armies are in Arco, he could be like, well, I know he has nothing, and he knows he's going to have to come liberate his cap, because I'm going to have, 60 giants knocking on the walls, who will break it down in, 4 turns. So he could know that Arco is going to have to move over this way and attack him. And he can actually do a PD dump here. So he could fight with PD and let Arco attack into him, which is going to be very not good. Now, the thing I have to think about is how much of Arco do I want to vulture? Because I'm pretty sure at this point, with this move, I'm feeling pretty convinced that Gath is going to win. So I would probably like to get these 4 provinces out of it. So anyway, we're going to clean up the Phlegra stuff. We'll watch some of the other battles here. We're going to try to clean up some of the Phlegra stuff and then vulture. I also do not... I need to find out what Gath's Bless is, because I still haven't seen it. But I'm assuming it's going to be stuff that's pretty good against... Oh god. Against me. Because knowing Sakane, he is itemized to fuck with me. So okay, we've got a lot of mages here. Doesn't look that scary from afar. You're like, oh, that's not that scary. When you realize this is like, a quarter mages or priests, it's pretty scary. But we have a teemu, and he's got thunder or copper plate, so he's going to be mostly immune to lightning. So the thunder strike shall not work. Unfortunately, I think because we're out of range of Thunderstrike, it's actually going to cause them to do more astral stuff, which is actually a problem, because the Thunderstrikes can miss, and we're geared up to protect against it. We might be a little too far back. So now we've gotten hit with Paralyze, and now the Mind Burns are going to be coming in. And our attack and defense are 0 too, so forget about repelling. See, the Mind Burn's going, but not really doing damage. I get the shit zapped out of us by this heavy lance charge, though. And I think we mostly got killed to the heavy lance charge, actually, which was a complete... that was completely the function of being paralyzed. Because otherwise we would have repelled and gotten rid of all the lance charges, and then we probably had been okay. We didn't get afflicted. That's nice. So coming down here, if we look at it, oh yeah, 18 points of damage, 9, yeah, 12. Oh, well, that's a Mind Burn attack. We got hit by 12. So yeah, mostly the lance charges. Anyway, teemu was hoping for glory, but that did not work out in our favor. I was really thinking it would be Mind Burns and Thunderstrikes, in which case we would have lived. But there's a few things we can deduce from this. One is that he's actually getting pretty close to Soul Slay, because in the little hierarchy of things, Paralyze is here and Soul Slay is here. So he's pretty close. Now, unfortunately, his whole Mage Core is here. So if he hasn't built a lab, which he may have, the other thing we know is that he did a pretty big PD dump. It's probably like 40 PD. The other thing this tells us is that... Okay, well, if he built a lab here, he can be sitting here researching, and he could get the Soul Slay before we actually kill him. So, that's a thing. There goes the teemu, and then we bump into Phlegra here. As we storm their castle. We'll talk about Diplo too, because Diplo's been kind of interesting. We killed a bunch of patrolling... Okay, yeah. Anyway. We killed some scouts. For events, Phantasmal Warriors attacked the Mist-Covered Highlands, which is a site here. And then we got a Plague, which we don't care about. We got a Skull Mentor, which we do care about. And then we got an Unrest event. So the events haven't really been on our side the past few turns, but that's okay. Now, this site comes from the Mist-Covered Highlands. There's the Mist-Covered Highlands, for those of you who don't know, will cause like an event chain. And at the end of the event chain, you get a site which will allow you to recruit air mages. So it's actually a good thing. We just have to kind of suffer through some of this. Now for the Diplo that's interesting. What Vanheim did. So, not Vanheim, Midgard. I have no idea. Well, we can figure it out. Where is Atlantis' cap? Here. So Midgard is right here. So Midgard got 3 or 4v1'd. And apparently it was mostly the doing of Pythium, I'm told now. But, and I think he did it mostly because he didn't think he was a good matchup against Midgard, so he kind of got this dog pile going on them. He didn't actually get a huge portion of the spoils, though I think he got some. Now, anyway, what Midgard said is, well, if there's going to be a coalition against me, then I can't kill all of you, but I'm going to fuck with one of you. And I think he told Atlantis that unless Atlantis backed down, it was going to be him. And Atlantis said, bring it. Well, he has been, apparently, and I don't have vision of this, maybe we can actually get up here and see it. He apparently has been sitting on top of Atlantis' capital a turn or two. So he just took his army. First of all, he killed Atlantis' army, which was attacking him, like a couple hundred units or something. And then he has marched his ass or sailed his ass down here and is now fucking with Atlantis. Which, I will give you style points. You get style points for that. You know, I think better to kind of defend your homeland and fuck with people who try to take it. But riding out into the night and completely fucking with somebody who's trying to dogpile on you, I give you 10 style points. So, yeah. I think he chose Atlantis too, because Atlantis was like late to the party. And he was just coming in like kind of vulture mode. I don't know. I think the better way to do it is you really threaten people with it. Like, you do the threat of it, like, that was kind of what happened in my Micklin game. Oh, not the one where I just got completely trashed, but the one before that, where I was 3v1'd. And basically, I did it, and I had big enough threatening armies, and nobody really wanted to fight them, that I was able to really slow down the dog pile, and then eventually a couple people bailed as other wars started. But I wasn't super aggressive. I didn't, like, take my army and march to their capital, because then that would have left my land open for them to actually come, for the vultures to come in and do their work. Anyway. That's been happening, and apparently Calum, who is up here, is about to attack Atlantis as well, and then Pythium is telling me they're going to be doing the same. But if we look down here, Calum is building up an inordinate amount of troops on my border. These are potentially going in two places. One is they're potentially going to attack Agartha, which, if you consider that Calum, their capital, is right here, and then they probably, I don't know, does Calum have any thrones? They have 2. So Calum probably has this throne and this throne, though it's possible they also have this one. But I don't know. Calum is very likely going to, it makes a lot of sense for them to attack Agartha. So I think they're going to attack Agartha, but these guys are in range of my fort. And it's a bunch of flyers, and it's not a ton, but if both of these people kind of fly their way over here, they could kind of mess with me. Now, we're past the point in the game where I care a ton about flyers. Like, they don't hit that hard. We're very close to me being able to do Solar Eclipse. And once we get to Solar Eclipse, I really don't care about flyers. Because then they're, sure, they have magic weapons, but they're not going to be able to hit me. Like, they're going to be hitting my shield almost every single shot, and they don't hit very hard. And then meanwhile, you know, I can be foul vaporizing them or something. So anyway, I think Agartha is about to be attacked. Now, Agartha has been my steadfast ally. So I do not want to replace my steadfast ally with fucking birds. My steadfast ally, who I've, you know, sadly Dom pushing, feel bad about it. I sent him 100 gold this turn, and I said for a couple more priests. You know, the poor guy, he's got a temple, his whole border is templed up. Now this he only got recently, but, You know, priests, 3 priests. You know, he's just trying desperately to keep my fucking dominion out. Oh, man. Poor guy. And I definitely started a fort this turn here. I wouldn't do it here. This is a little cheeky, building a fort here. Like, this is kind of... If I were Arco or Agartha, this would be a fuck you fort. But I don't mean it as if I wouldn't build a fort here. Because it's... Why is it a fuck you fort? Because really, it neighbors 4 of their provinces, but only 2 of mine. And it kind of pokes out of my territory. You know? Like, I don't need to do it. But I can get these guys. Stealthy nature mages who are cheap as hell and 10 research. Like, these are going to be some of my best researchers. So, I'm sorry, guys, but I have to build this. The library of Lemuria demands it. So, that must be done. But here's my concern. I've sent messages to Agartha in Discord. We'll see if he responds. But Agartha is a very slow map move nation. They can only move their armies 1 tile a turn. Oh my gosh, sorry. 1 tile a turn. Kalem, very high map move nation. Now, I don't care about that as much, because Kalem it takes a lot to 1 turn pop a 500 fort, even for flyers. Let's take a look at the siege strength of some of these troops. Chicken Curry, what a great pretender name. 2. So yeah, these guys are going to have a siege strength of like 200. So even then, they're going to need a really big bird army to 1 turn pop one of my forts. So I don't really care that much if they attack me, because I think I have the tools to kill them. Like with the consuls and then doing chakras. I mean, they have death mages who they could have on advance and cast spells and dust the shit out of me. But I also, we're moving armies into place. I've got Rigor Mortis coming online in 2 turns, motherfuckers. 900 RP left, right? That means we're like 460 a turn away. And, yeah, we've got 440 coming out now. So next turn, as long as I get a few more mages, which I'm not going to get a ton of mages next turn, but I'll get a few more. I might have to commit a Grand Lemur to research, but then I'm going to have, you got it, Rigor Mortis. And that is going to be kind of game-changing. We'll also have potential access to Grip of Winter. I need a trade for a Water Bracelet. But Water Bracelet plus Power of the Spheres equals my Water Randoms can do Grip of Winter. And that, in conjunction with Rigor Mortis, is going to fuck Agartha, it's going to fuck Marignon, it's going to fuck Arco, it's going to fuck, not Atlantis, Satis, it's going to fuck Satis hard. Cold-blooded dudes trying to come in here and fight me with mages, forget about it. With me doing Rigor Mortis, I mean, they'll cast 1 spell, they'll pass out. Just completely punished. It'll fuck Pythium. Kalem's troops are cold immune, so they won't care as much about the cold part, but anyway. We're going to be taking some of the troops, moving them down here. While Kalem has this border militarized, we are going to respect it. If he can 2-turn pop a fort, you know, we're gonna make sure we have troops in the area that can mobilize. The real thing for Kalem that's going to help, and I've switched my research priority a little bit, is I've pushed Alteration 5 ahead of Construction 4. And that is because Alt 5 is going to yield me whatchamacallit. Alt 5 is going to yield me Solar Eclipse and Invulnerability and Drain Life. Lots of good things. So, I think that is most of... Oh, apparently all other Diplo news is Marignon's not very happy about me being a huge dick and kicking him off of these... kicking him basically out of Phlegra. And he's been petitioning Pythium to come help him attack me. And... I could send him another message, Nap 3. But... I think that would be interpreted rudely, and I don't really want to be extra rude. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so what are the plays we're going to make? one of the plays we're going to make is we're going to... Here's the bull and stuff. Fortunately for me, Sertoma can kill everybody there. So we're just going to send Sertoma over there and let him kill everyone. What? Maybe I can get experience on somebody else. You've got extraordinary agility. I think maybe we let Archchronix do it. Let's get him a heroic trait. I really want to get a Soul Butcher. So let's take this. I'll give it to you. Let's take all your gear and let's give it to Archchronix. Archchronix, your time has come. Sertoma, very tough, but... and if it were a harder fight, we would send you in, buddy. You know, with the extraordinary agility and all. But he's already at the top of the heroic charts. I need to get Archchronix in there. So, what we're actually going to do with you, Sertoma, is we're going to send you up here. And then what we're going to do with you, Archchronix, is we're going to send you over here. And the plan is basically... Unholy Blessing. Unholy Protection. Unholy Power. Attack large enemy monster. That's basically it. And he should be able to murder everybody there. I don't think there's anything else in particular I want to give him. So perfect, he goes here. Meanwhile, the main army, which is now going to be Sertoma and Pendragon, they're going to head up this way. And they should be able, with this army, to one turn pop this. Will they? 150... I don't actually think they will. I actually probably need to steal some guys from this group. Let's say they have 30 siege defense. That means I need to be doing 280. Okay, we're at 300. That's fine. So we'll send these guys up here. I've got Sai coming over here to take this back. But then these guys are coming here. I got this guy if there's any kind of crazy shenanigans that happens. So yeah, we're moving here. Vacating this. Just going to start collecting that water, air, and come here. Not sending anybody to deal with this army. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm kind of hoping they come up here, and then Archchronix gets to kill them. Now that he is in super combatant mode. But if they don't, that's okay. The nice thing again is this bull is not casting personal regen, so we will be able to kill them with a single Dusk Dagger, rather than before we needed 2 and maybe Strength of Giants if it was in friendly dominion, or like Giant Boots. Or like, you know, sending this guy in too, because he has a Dusk Dagger. So, anyway, that is that. Hopefully next turn we'll be able to storm this fort. This fort is ready to be stormed by Atlantis. Over here, I have told Agartha, even though I've cracked it and I could take it this turn, I told Agartha before that I was going to save this fort for him. So, indeed I will. So we're just going to take this other stuff from Bogoroos. Apparently, Bogoroos has not... Every turn there's been... Not here, but a lot of turns there's been like, this province didn't have any PD. There's no PD here, so we're going to attack it with the scout. I don't even think there's PD here or here. We'll see. So, anyway, we're going to attack here and here. This army is probably going to get in position to either go on top of the cap or to go over here. Valik, who has been kind of trying to bait the Earth Serpent out, is going to go attack. And actually, we need to change Valik's thing because he doesn't have any fluffers anymore. Unholy Protection, Power Attack, Large Monster. Okay, perfect. Oh, wait. Is this guy... I don't think he's cursed. Let's curse him just out of spite. Okay, perfect. And then that should hopefully kill the Earth Snake. I have no idea where the Earth Snake's going to go. If he comes up here, he'll... I don't know. It won't be good. This army may be able to kill him. In the cold, he'll pass out. It just depends on the morale checks. If he goes to defend his cap, another likely move. probably will kill these guys. I think these guys will be able to take his PD, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we're going to try it out. This army, I've got 2 turns left on this palisade coming up. I don't want to attack with my palisade coming up, because then if I lose, he just comes here and kills it and takes my palisade out, and I don't like that. So we're going to hang out here that 1 turn. This guy, I moved him in as a last-minute thing last turn, which meant I didn't actually get a consul. I mean, a Grand Lemur last turn out of my capital. You can see teemu spawns after 1 month, so he is back already. He died last turn and is back this turn. So he's getting the immediate redeploy. God, teemu, what a hero. Yeah, anyway, so Waywinkle we moved out to basically do turn 1 anti-magic, because this army scares the shit out of me. So, and you can see, we had a few people patrol, so let me just give you here's some scouts that we found. So this is what we're dealing with here, right? So this is, and by no means is this my entire army, but this is by far and away my biggest army. This is a turn 29 Lemuria army. A Lemuria that's doing very well, by the way. You know, so if it's a beat the shit Lemuria, you don't expect this, but quantity is a quality all of its own. There's a few things we can tell from looking at this, and I didn't actually know how this worked, but one thing you can tell is that these guys right here, you can see it's 2 lines. They're actually, this is only 1 line of dudes in my army setup. And they're in a sparse line, but what has happened, let me watch it again. What has happened is that this line got filled up. So the way the AI deploys, not the AI, I guess the game algorithm deploys troops, is it first put this line down, and it was trying to do it, if this were not, if it couldn't fill up the whole row, it would actually do the sparse line thing where it puts a space in. But it's like, oh shit, we filled up the whole row. So instead of putting spaces in, which it can't, it goes back 1 line and starts deploying people there. And then oddly enough, it doesn't even really put these in much of a sparse line. These people in the 2nd row. So this is not ideal, I would say. I really just don't have a big enough battlefield to get all my troops on it. I think what I would want to, I've kind of been thinking about what I want to do different for this setup. And I think having denser guys at the back rather than denser guys at the front, and having more, we can actually probably count how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 10 about, and then about 15, and then about 20. It looks like it's about 40 tiles long. And so 3 times 40 is about 120. So it looks like it's probably about, my guess, and we can check this, is that 120 troops will span the whole normal battlefield. Now I think the battlefield can get bigger if you literally overload the number of troops that can fit in, but I don't know how close we are to that. But it seems like if I have 60, which is close to what we have here, maybe, that will fill up a whole line as sparse, you know, with the sparse formation. So anyway, what is the conclusion from this? Maybe sparse line with like 70 troops in it would be ideal. But anyway, and this line is supposed to be attack rear, attack rear. I think this is attack rear too, but I think I changed it already to be fire. Fire, hold and fire, hold and fire, hold and attack rear, hold and attack rear, hold and attack rear. I think it was something like that. So anyway, they're welcome to come attack, but because they did this PD dump, I'm not very excited about attacking into them. Maybe next turn, once I have the archers, I'll feel a tiny bit more confident. But what I think I'd prefer to do, what I may choose to do, is to just take his capital and stuff. So what I've done is I've taken one of the squads that was here, and I've gone ahead and pulled them out this way. And then they'll come up and go sit on top of the capital with some more dudes. Because Valik here will be able to kill it, whatever they have. I don't think they have enough, especially if we get this thing under siege and we don't let them combine mages. They're not going to have enough to save their capital. And then I can just kill this whenever I want to. I mean, at some point I have to get my wallet out and pay. And I've really been trying to... And as Lemuria, that is not your strategy. With Lemuria, the strategy is not get out your wallet and pay, right? With Lemuria, the strategy is be elusive, be hard to catch, kind of outsmart your enemy in terms of strategic movement, switch up what they actually have to deal with. Is it going to be ghosts? Is it going to be a super combatant? All these things. It's a game of deception and all of that. So when somebody does this, they have a huge amount of fucking mages. They station them behind a huge amount of PD. How much do I really want a 50 income province? The answer is not that much. I'm kind of prone to ignore it. It's kind of the truth. So anyway, but everybody here, we're going to site search, we're going to call spirits, we're going to finish our palisade construction. I've started 2 new palisades. One here, which is going to really firm me up on this part of my empire. I haven't started one here, which is where I want to start another one, but I started this one down here. So, that's because I want research, but this is probably going to piss off my neighbors, but I'm less concerned now about pissing off Arco, because it looks more and more like I'm going to get to vulture some of Arco. So, what I may even choose to do, and I'll have to decide this at some point, I'm not sure when. Like, maybe I can free up some of these guys here, because I know I have... Yeah, maybe we get some of these consuls freed up here. Don't I have another guy with... Okay, perfect. I think I need to free up some of these commanders. Yeah, like you could... This guy can have a shit ton, right? Yeah, 145. These guys... He's full. He's full. Oh, these guys get a morale penalty with him. I'm not sure if I'm actually that stoked about that. Well, shit, then I'm not really freeing up anybody now, am I? And with the amount of casualties we're going to take here, morale is a big deal. Okay, well, so be it. I have to redo some of the formation. We're not going to do that together, but what the net effect of all of this is I get to... Damn it. I get to pull this guy down here. We're going to pick up troops next turn. Then we're probably going to take these guys and whatever troops I have down here, and we're going to get in vulture position for Arco. Now, I don't have a nap with Arco, so we'll have to see. And potentially, I can just go into raiding Gath, but I don't know. Gath, I need to take seriously. Because Gath is going to have... First of all, there's annoying giants. Second of all, I think Gath... Does Gath have healers? I feel like they do. Yeah. They have healers and astral mages. Who's their best astral? It's not this idiot. Is it this? Are these, so he at least has astral 2s, but those are on slow to recruit, cap only. I kind of thought they might have... I mean, they've got these guys who are going to give them high astral, and they don't really have great mind hunters. But they have some. They can. I mean, these guys can mind hunt, but it's not something I don't think to worry about. So anyway, I don't know. I'm not super worried about Gath. So like probably famous last words, but I can get out my little vulture hat, and we can vulture some of Arco. Potentially, I can even vulture Arco from the south. And we're getting very close, I think, to the point where it's going to be what Calum does. Like, if Calum attacks Agartha, some ways that's good for me, because that means I don't have to worry about Caleb joining the coalition. And then Gartha backstabbing me. I don't think these guys are going to backstab me. First of all, I sent them to 30 fire gems. They're going to be putting up Eternal Pyre, so I'm helping them cast it. As payment for that, they are going to make me basically for 30 gems. It's going to be what? Normally this would get turned into 6 lanterns, but he'll turn this into 9 lanterns for me, I guess. So it's going to save me the mage turns, and it's going to save me... I mean, I can't forge them myself. So no markup, no mage turns, and he's going to get them for me pretty soon. So anyway, that's... Now, Flames from the Sky is something we are not going to be very happy about, but I don't think they're going to force me to do super huge Doom stacks. And if they do, hopefully I can do domes. But we'll see. I definitely could I could see myself regretting it. I don't feel like Flames from the Sky is super close on the horizon. I feel like he's going to have a lot of other targets he wants to get before Flames from the Sky. But him controlling Eternal Pyre is definitely not something we're super happy about. We have pretty good fire gem income too, 10 per turn. So we'll be happy to get the research bump, is basically the long and short of it. And if it helps both of us, I think the fact that I'm in a stronger position than him means I should take it. If he were in a stronger position and it helps both of us, I'm not sure I would want to do it as much. And it's going to kind of help him more than me. Because, I mean, I'm probably going to pay like half the gem cost of Eternal Pyre, but I'm not going to get that much of a payout. But at the same time, I also am not terribly close to being able to cast it myself. I would have to go all the way up to... Oh, wait, shit. Oh, wait, I could actually fight him for it. I want to have it in 2 turns. I think I'm going to restructure our deal. I think I'm going to say I can actually fight you for it. And maybe I actually want to partner. I think I'm going to do that. Oh man, yeah, I really got to think about that. So anyway, we're not doing this right now. You just take that off the table. I mean, in 2 turns, I'll have 50. I bet you I could actually cast it before him. That'll be interesting. I need to go ahead and let him know, though. I didn't realize it was so early. I didn't think it was enchantment 6. I thought it was like enchantment 7. Holy shit. If I could start doing Phoenix Pyre on my super combatants and I don't have to worry about Soul Slay, forget about it. Okay, forget about it. How are you going to kill a teemu when he's got Phoenix Pyre? I have Phoenix Pyred Immortals coming out of my you know what. Anyway, so I think I'm going to ask him for a partnership on it. I think that's what makes sense. We don't fight over it and waste gems, but I think we go 50-50. And I think that's better for me than getting like 6. I mean, I'll be able to have construction 6 in not too long anyway. And Gartha probably has construction 6, so I can funnel my fire gems to him to get him to make him for me. For a little markup, and I'd rather have plus 10 fire income. So anyway, I think that's what we're going to do. That also reduces the Flames from the Sky risk for me later. It does mean I'm going to share with Pythium what my tech is, but probably okay. Where is the earth snake positioned? Middle back? Is that middle back? Middle back. Okay. It's probably fine. I think we'll be in range, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Hopefully we have some cool battles next turn as we kill this and this. And he may choose to kind of bull rush into me. If he does, that'll basically be GG. So yeah, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.